This is the unboxing and full review of Google Pixel 9, and this could kill an iPhone. It took us 8 years for Google to create an Android iPhone that will compete with their biggest competition, which is a non-Android phone. And when we say Android iPhone, it doesn't mean that Google is trying to copy Apple. I feel like we're on an era wherein we can safely transition from iPhone to an Android phone without the remorse or feeling of downgrading and actually getting more out of the switch. Google started to build their Pixel phones with the camera in mind in 2016, the first phone to introduce Nightshot around 2017, then later on integrates the software and the hardware, build their own processor which is the tensor, and focus on their own design and look. And now after 8 years, Pixel 9 looks like an iPhone, and when I say it looks like an iPhone, it's not like a cheap Chinese brand that tries to copy the look of an iPhone and with an Android OS. Pixel 9 and 9 Pro is actually way cooler in terms of design, premium feel, competitive price tag. It doesn't have the fastest performance, but with the integration of the Pixel OS, it feels like any other premium phones out there. Today we're reviewing Pixel 9 and it took us 8 years to have an Android phone that can kill an iPhone. I know there's a lot to cover on this review, but let me give you a little bit of time to praise Google for creating a really good phone this year. This phone looks and feels like an iPhone, to be honest. The curves, the sides, the weight of it, almost like the size of an iPhone. On my unboxing experience, the aluminum frame and the camera bump also feels like an iPhone, although a little bit different, but you know that this is directly competing with the premium design of an iPhone. If there's one phone this year that I would crown as the best looking phone, I would probably hand it over to Pixel 9 and Pixel 9 Pro, just because the visor looking camera module now become an island at the back. If you put the phone face down, it wouldn't wiggle, and even though the camera module is big, you can easily cover this with the plethora of cases in the market, but I would suggest you put a transparent case on this for the people to see the beauty of the camera bump. Of course, we still have the IP68 water and dust resistance that's present on this flagship phone, and this also offers the latest Gorilla Glass Victus 2 both front and back, and again the aluminum frame with antenna bands that surrounds the phone to make sure you get signal every time. This phone offers nano SIM and also eSIM if you're now moving towards electronic SIM card. The battery is usually reserved at the end of the review, but this is something that Google has improved on the new Pixel lineup. I feel like on all the Pixels I have, including the Pro version, that this one is actually one of the longest battery life on any of the Pixel phones. And to sweeten the deal, this is actually the cheapest among all 4 Pixel 9 phones, and yet it has the best battery life among the bunch. I actually did the battery test for moderate use and standby, and on my initial impression, I get an easy 2 days for Pixel 9. And that includes social media, a little bit of gaming, music, content consumption like watching movies on Netflix and YouTube, and occasional call and text. Obviously, you don't have a wall charger out of the box, but this will support 27 watts of fast charging, and looking at the market today, you will have tons of PD chargers that will support 27 watts, but you still need to pay a little bit of extra for that. Also, this phone has fast wireless charging using the Pixel stand with 15 watts and a regular Qi wireless charging for 12 watts. Now, performance is one of the highlights of this year's Pixel 9 series, although tough reviewers will say it will underperform compared to Apple Bionic or Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, but aside from the speed, this processor handles most of the tasks, including all the AI features that Pixel 9 has on its arsenal. Of course, you have all the AI features on the camera, including Add Me. You still have the Magic Eraser and all the editing tools on the camera app, including the new Reimagine. You also have the famous Circle to Search, and it listens to the music at the background while the screen is off. This phone is running on the latest Tensor chip Gen 4 that Pro XL, and the Fold are using, and the base model is set to 12 gigs of RAM with 128 gigs of storage that goes up to 256. You don't have one but 2 AI assistants on this phone. One is the Google Assistant that is serving us for the longest, and the newest Gemini, which runs really good. I have an initial test of this Gemini AI, and it feels like talking to a real person. Information is very good. I bet sometimes it offers good guesses, like when I asked about my channel, it says it was being run by a group of people, while in reality, I'm the only one running the channel, so it gives answers to the best of its ability and a little bit of wild guesses. I tried playing Mobile Legends on this phone and even PUBG and Genshin Impact, and it would run on the highest settings on these games. This phone doesn't stutter on any gameplay, so I'm not sure where the comparison will be against the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. If the processor can perform the same as any other processor, then the benchmark scores are just vanity. I don't like the fact that this phone is still running on Android 14. I hope when Google releases this phone, it comes with the newest Android 15. But actually with the polished Android 14, this phone looks like a well-oiled machine with that OS. Of course, you still have 7 years of OS upgrade, so having Android 14 out of the box is not really an issue with this phone. It will go a long way. I also like the fact that Google has given this phone 12 gigs of base RAM. I feel like 8 gigs is obsolete right now, and although there's no SD card, 128 gigs of storage is plenty enough considering that Google will offer you paid cloud storage if you need to. Now, every year, consumers like to know the updates about the cameras, and obviously the camera of this year will perform the same almost like last year, but the biggest difference are the AI feature that this phone offers. The biggest hardware improvement from last year is the ultra-wide lens. It's now 48 megapixel f1.7 as opposed to a 12 megapixel f2.2 of last year. And the sensor size is also a little bit bigger that translates to a better low-light performance and better details. Again, you have the typical setup on the camera app with the action pan, long exposure, portrait photos, and Nightshot, and now including Add Me and the new Reimagine under Edit, which we will thoroughly test on our camera comparison video. Add Me is basically adding another person to the shot through AI, and this might be beneficial for those situations wherein the other person is still not around, but you want to include them on the image. You can sense it's a little bit fake, but still doing a good job on the first try. The video performance of this phone is pretty solid like last year. I like the audio performance wherein you silence the background with the help of speech enhancement. The stabilization on this phone is pretty solid when active movements, and you can shoot 4K on both sides of the phone, which is pretty nice. Here, I will give you a little bit of sample photos and videos for you to see how solid the camera performance is. This is the video recording in 4K 30 FPS using the rear camera. Look at how stabilized the footage is. And now this is the main sensor. Look at the colors of the grass. And we also have the 2x digital crop. And this is the selfie video recording. Look at my face. This is super smooth. And I like the field of view. This is good for vlogging. We also have the 1.4x. This is how close 1.4 is. And this is the 1x. We're doing the zoom test on Google Pixel 9. So this is 1x, or actually the ultra wide. This is a 1x. 2x, look at the moon, going to the 3x, now 4, 5, and 7. But look how stabilized the footage is. Nice. This is the low light video using the ultra wide lens, and this is the main sensor. You can see that exposure is really good and there's less noise on the video. If you think that design, performance, and cameras are the strongest features of this phone, I bet if you talk about the screen, this is as awesome as the other features that we talk about. I feel like for the past couple of years, the name of the game for screen aside from the foldable phones are high brightness. When OnePlus and Samsung introduced brightness above 2000 nits, everyone started moving to that direction. The base Pixel 9 got really good screen this year. It is a 6.3-inch, same size as Pixel 9 Pro. It is an OLED screen with 120Hz refresh rate and HDR10+. This panel can go as high as 2700 nits of max brightness. This will definitely kill the competition. The iPhone 15 only registers 60Hz with 2000 nits and people are raving about it. It was marketed to have Dolby Vision and ceramic shield. But comparing this technology with the newer Pixel, obviously Pixel 9 is costly than iPhone 15, but Google will give you a brighter screen, a higher refresh rate, and could be better, Gorilla Glass Victus 2 to protect the screen. This year is definitely a win for Google. I think they launched a pretty competitive set of phones from Pixel 9 to Pixel 9 Fold. Obviously, the price might be a little bit of stretch for others, since now it increases $200 from the initial price of a Pixel phone, and that's slowly creeping in with the other Android competition out there. But with the huge improvement on the battery life, the impeccable performance of the new Tensor Gen 4, a few AI gimmicks like the Gemini that we may not need but still there, the camera AI tricks that we may enjoy first then forget, and the biggest win, the premium feel of an iPhone. It took Google 8 years to create an Android smartphone with all these great features, a solid base flagship that will kill an iPhone.